Welcome to my new podcast, Gettin Chatty with Platty. Now, the idea of this podcast is that it's going to be a multi-platform series, sometimes uploaded to YouTube, sometimes even just an IG Live, talking to people I have a genuine interest in, and not just in the online business space, but people from all walks of life, ranging from elite academics to compelling authorities within their field of expertise. Now, what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and cut the shit from the regular mundane podcast where the same generic questions are asked. And what you're really going to listen to or watch today is two successful people having a chat about life and business. And now we're on Apple Music as well and Spotify. So make sure you subscribe on those platforms. Now, today's guest is Gettin Chatty. Now, he is the owner of Foundr magazine. It's a paid magazine for young aspiring entrepreneurs. He started as an IT technician before retraining in marketing and then launching Foundr magazine, which has now got a huge following online with 2.6 million followers on Instagram alone and over 250,000 subscribers to the magazine. So Gettin, thank you so much for being here. And now, as I said with my podcast, I'm trying to steer away from the generic business podcast. So I want to actually understand the minds of entrepreneurs and the businesses they've created. So I thought we'd start off with 10 light-hearted, quick-fire questions today. So is that okay with you? Are you ready to get chatty with Platty today?
Yeah, let's do it.
Wicked, man. Okay, I want to know what is on the very top of your bucket list.
On
the spot straight away.
I'd say to travel to most of the countries in the world.
Okay, amazing. Love that. And what would your best friend or partner say is your most annoying habit or trait?
Ask too many questions.
I'm like that. Dream sandwich. I want to know the bread, the sauce filling, the lot.
It's got to be white bread. It's got to be with bacon. It's got to be with lettuce, chicken, and it's got to be jaffled and no butter.
This is like a hybrid club sandwich, some bougie club sandwich we're going for right here. Okay, cool. Okay, what is the one topic that you think should be taught in school right now that's not?
Emotional intelligence.
Nice. The last Netflix series you watched?
Well, it wasn't Netflix, but it was Amazon. It's The Boys.
Okay. Sweet. And define what success looks like to you in 3 words.
Doing work you love.
Nice. Genre of music for working or no music at all? So do you listen to music or do you prefer no music when you're working?
No music.
No music. Okay, interesting. 3 people you would love to have over for a dinner party.
Drake, Tupac, and Elon Musk.
Okay, cool. That's an eclectic mix. And food or a meal that reminds you most of your childhood?
Juk. Yeah, probably juk.
Okay, sweet. And finally, the worst advice you've ever received?
Not sure. I'd get a lot of advice, man.
That's okay.
Too hard.
We'll pass on that final one. I always crumble on the quick fire questions when I have to do them. So, okay, Gettin, thank you so much for being here, man. I'm really, really looking forward to this. It's actually funny because around 4 years ago now, I actually DM'd you on LinkedIn trying to muscle in on your success at Foundr. I was back working in corporate sales back then and I wanted to join your sales team. And here we are coming full circle and I'm interviewing you on my podcast today. So it's funny how life comes around. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool to hear. So what exactly happened? I'd love to know.
Well, I was working in corporate sales. I got heavily into marketing. I was selling advertisement at the time. You did respond back at the time, I think, but you weren't scaling the team at that point, or you probably were, but maybe not on the sales side of things. And I then kind of found a love for digital marketing. I started a marketing agency of my own here in the UK, and we scaled it up. We provide Facebook ad services to companies, mainly e-commerce companies around the globe. And yeah, we've now built a respectable little team and kind of started our personal brand as well on YouTube and everything. So yeah, it's kind of come full circle. So it's wicked to have you on here today.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations on all your success, man.
Thanks, man. Likewise, I've been following the journey for a long time, so likewise, I'm in awe of it all. So no, it's amazing. Nathan, I've
Oh,
got some
thank you.
questions prepared for you today, but I want this to kind of to be as conversational as possible. And one of the things that I really want to know, though, is everyone who meets you, from everything I've read online, everything I've seen from your journey, they say that you exude ambition and a drive to be successful. Now, I want to know if you can remember your earliest memory of when you felt the desire to be something more than maybe just mediocre. And what was your first entrepreneurial experience as a kid?
Mm. Yeah, good question. So, look, first, I think that's two questions there. I think the first one is like, what drove my desire to not be mediocre? I think that started when I just kind of hit breaking point, just doing work that I didn't enjoy.
Yeah.
So before then, I, just kind of used to cruise along in life, man. Like there's people like, that I, went to school with or, used to party with when I was younger or whatever. They would never think I'm doing what I'm doing now, right? Like I was just
Yeah.
like this kind of funny guy, a bit of a joker and stuff. So I didn't get good grades. I was never a high achiever. So before Foundr, funnily enough, like it's like the only thing I've done really that I'm extremely proud of, right? So I hope that kind of answers that question because yeah, it was only probably about 7-8 years ago when I really made that shift, right? Had that mindset shift that I could do so much more. I could be so much more, but more than anything, it was always about the work. How do I find work that I enjoy? Because life is too short to
Mhm.
not do things that you enjoy, right? And yeah, like I was just really unhappy in the work that I was doing. I just didn't like it. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
In regards to like my first entrepreneurial experience, I never knew it at the time, right? Like I never knew it at the time, but I was always hustling. Like I used to sell, burnt music CDs and all sorts of things.
Nice.
Like back when like you could rip CDs. My dad had a burner and I
Yeah.
was burning stuff and selling stuff to kids at school. So like I've actually always been a hustler. I just didn't know it.
Yeah, nice. Neil Patel did that as well. He actually used to sell pirates. Sold pirated CDs and DVDs, but also he used to sell the pirated like chips to have like satellite TV. But when that was a thing, so he'd like sell the pirated
Ah,
chips, but he'd sell them to the parents. So there's a common thing in these youthful criminal enterprises.
yeah. So like for me, yeah, I think I was always hustle is probably not the best word, but I've always had a bit of get up and go. I think I've always had like kind of the resourcefulness
Yeah.
to work things out.
100%. No, no, that's amazing. I read that Founder had. Did you make $5.50 on the first day, and then $80 around that on the first month? So
Yep.
like resilience has got to be a huge part of that as well. Like, how did you stay motivated? I mean, to be honest, like I suppose of entrepreneurs, we never think we're going to turn a profit within our first like couple of months, or like we're going to make any kind of money. So I think it's in our plan anyway to not make a huge sum of money to start off with. But was that disappointing? How did you stay motivated when you were first launching out, or did you have backup income? What was the score with that?
Yeah, good question. So like for me, the fact that I could create something that I knew nothing about, i.e. entrepreneurship, and provide enough value or perceived value that people would pay even $5 or 50 cents on the first day of launching or $80 at the end of the month.
Mhm.
Like for me, that's awesome. So I think for whatever reason, it's interesting. Like 7 years ago when I started Foundr, I thought entrepreneurship was hot. Like I thought like, but you look at right now, it's like the hottest thing ever, right? But like, I guess things were a little different back then where, you know, there was podcasting, there was bloggers, Pat Flynn, people like that who I used to look up to. But I don't think you would compare yourself as much as you might now if you were looking or you were aspiring in the online space. I don't think it would be as the same, to be honest, Jordan. Like, honestly, when I launched the magazine, I didn't really care about the money. It wasn't about how do I make a shit ton of money or
Mm.
anything like that. It was like I'm doing work that I didn't enjoy. I really wanted to get a job in marketing. So I was still working in IT support. So that's how I was like, and that's the way I recommend everyone goes, right? Like if you're frustrated with what you're doing, you want to start a business, you don't know where to start, and you've got a day job, you stay in that day job and you keep grinding and you work two jobs, right? Like this is the only way to get it done. And for me, what kept me going was that glimmer of hope. Like that's the beautiful thing about recurring revenue, right? Like you would get it in your agency, I assume. Yeah. So like it does go up if you do a good job. So look, for me, it wasn't demotivating. It was actually like empowering that this guy that knew nothing about any of this stuff, people were prepared to hand over their cold, hard-earned dollars to read this magazine. And then I just fell in love with the process, fell in love, as I said, with the work. And then, eventually we made it work, right? Like, after a year, I could go full time on it and then off we go.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I fully agree with you. It's so much. I don't know whether you experienced, but certainly when I started my agency, I had so much imposter syndrome. I'm like, okay, I'm now doing this new thing, and people actually paying for me to provide this service to them. And did you experience that at all? Like, because obviously you're jumping into an industry which is just, it's an absolute, minefield, presumably, and there's so many competitors, there's so many big names. Like, did you experience imposter syndrome when you're first starting out?
Yep, 110%. Still do to this day, to be honest. That I don't think that's ever going to go away.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, business it's never going to be smooth, plain sailing. And that to some people, like, it's kind of alien to them that it's not going to be this kind of, I think we glamorize entrepreneurship nowadays, especially in the world of entrepreneurship. And I don't think it's ever been as popular as it is right now to be an entrepreneur. I think everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, but then at the same time can have a very false perception of how easy it can be. And so to help listeners feel okay with bumps in the road, can you tell me what the biggest thing is that you're struggling with maybe at the moment and how you think you're going to overcome that?
Well, the biggest things that I struggle with at the moment, but I don't know how much that would resonate with people that are wanting to start. It's just like scaling, right? Like scaling problems, building the team, working on the org structure, working out how do we create more product, we just got a lot going on. So, scaling content, we're reworking our content team, we're finding the right org structure. Those are the things that I struggle with, but I'm working on with one of my advisors, right? So those are the things that, I'm focused on right now. And like, to be honest, I am not that much, like, I don't love doing the interviews anymore. I want to get a show host in New York. Like I want to, like, for our New York office, I want to have all the interviews going out of there. So I want to, get off all that camera stuff. So then, like there's just things that you wouldn't think, right? Like, but, if I could maybe share for people that wanting to start a business right now, what was I struggling with back then? When I was first starting, things that I was struggling with were, in the first 4 months, I was sued for trademark infringement. The magazine wasn't called Foundr at the time. It was called something else. That was a really tough one. I was struggling to work out how to get customers, man. Let's be honest, right? Like it ain't easy. It ain't easy, like creating a product and then generating sales. Like it's actually really hard. So I was trying all these different things. I was trying to understand who to listen to. I was trying to understand who's actually knows what they're talking about. Like I was trying to understand who do I want to surround myself with. I was going to events in like Melbourne and stuff, and I would be meeting people and I'd be networking and I'd be doing catch-ups from people I'd meet on LinkedIn. And like, unfortunately, some of those catch-ups were not that beneficial, right? Like, so this is kind of like, those are the struggles that I had back then. Even before I even launched Foundr, it took 6 months of just fucking around because, like I wasn't happy with the design. I wasn't happy with the content, and like, you know, I was really scared what other people would think. And like it was like, you know, it's really tough. Right. And I get it. And the biggest problem is you only know what you know.
Yeah.
Right. And the sooner you can surround yourself with like-minded people, or like find people that have done it, the faster you're going to get the results that you're looking for. So I think it's one part mindset, because you got to obviously, you know, pitch in and do the work and, you know, graft. And then it's the other part around just like your influences and the resources around you. I really believe that, like, you know, you are the average of the 5 to 10 people you spend most of your time with. And like, it's, you know, part of the game, even for me right now, is we are always looking to learn from other people. And that's the whole essence of Foundr, right? Like, you know, everyone to get where they want to go, somebody out there has done it, and it's your job to actually find that person and learn from them. And if you can, you will speed up the growth cycle of what you're trying to do tenfold, 100x fold.
Yeah, for sure. And there's so much to be learned from other people, especially as a beginner. Like, everything I've ever learned about marketing has come from other people, and I'm very happy to say that. Like, everything you ever learned has come from someone else. I know you share the same annoyance as I do at the guru world, and it makes life very hard for legitimate content creators who are putting out content out there which they actually know that what they're talking about, and not just regurgitating something else they've seen someone else talk about. What do you think it is about that industry that is so damaging to the younger generation and people in business? Because, I mean, everyone when they're starting out wants to learn from somebody, but it's an absolute minefield out there these days. And there's no regulation, and anyone can create YouTube content, and you don't know who to trust. And so, yeah, what are your thoughts on the whole guru culture?
Well, my thoughts are that it's only going to get worse. And all we can do is just keep, you know, finding really smart people to share on our platform. Why is it happening? It's because it's lucrative for people, right? Like, it's lucrative to do, like, you know, the Tai Lopez model, right? Like, it's a model, it's a business model, right? It's literally, funnily enough, like you talk about Neil Patel, like, it's a model, right? Like, and I'm not saying Neil has that model, but yeah, like, me and Neil, we've spoken quite a lot, and we've spoken about this before as well. So that's what I say. But yeah, he, like, I think, and I've seen it. It is easy to get good conversion rates if you show your lifestyle, right? And show true, whether the lifestyle is true or fake. It is very appealing to certain people, like just certain people, right? So, you know, and then, you know, it's, you know, personal brands, all these different things can be very, very powerful, right? It's like, you know, that person. And then if that person says, well, look, I've taken you on this journey, you've seen my life, like, you can have this too, just like you got to do X, Y, and Z. Then people jump at it, right? So it's one of those things, right, where unfortunately we're in a day and age where a lot of people are trying to teach things where they probably aren't qualified to teach in many ways, right? So, look, my take on it, I don't want to come at it from a negative standpoint. I just think it is what it is, and it's due to the power of the internet, right? That this has kind of come to life, and it's just going to keep building, right? Like, it's just going to keep building, and that is actually good for us at Foundr, because you know, we'll just continue to, you know, work with like legit entrepreneurs that have actual real businesses, that have actual substantial businesses, and we will only grow from it, right? Because from a sea of gurus, you know, people will see these beacons, right, of legit founders out there providing actual real value.
Of course. And there are plenty of legitimate founders, legitimate business owners who have info-based business models as well, but they have actually done the thing that they're therefore going to teach. I think the problem for me is not necessarily the guys who are who have already built that success, and I'll teach other people how to do that, maybe because they've got a passion in empowering other people. It's the people that aren't actually doing the thing that they then teach to do, or haven't ever done that thing. And I think that's the biggest issue, how a 16-year-old kid can watch some online course, hypothetically, and regurgitate that course and sell it for $1,000 and sell some lifestyle-based stuff. It's like the Forex traders that we have on so heavily on Instagram. And it's one of those things that I personally think that will hit with a lot of regulation, and I think there will be some kind of need for certifications, guarantees of some sort. I mean, one thing I always say is with info products and guru-based content is, it's like a personal trainer, right? If you're going to teach somebody how to be successful, and you're going to promise somebody success, or you're going to teach someone how to achieve X, Y, Z, even if that's gaining followers on Instagram, then you should have some kind of guarantee to say, hey, look, I'm going to teach you how to do this thing, but if you follow what I do and you don't actually mess it up, then you're going to have some kind of guaranteed results. It's like if you go to the gym and the personal trainer and he says, hey, or he or she says, hey, you're going to lose weight, and in 3 months' time, you're going to follow my diet plan, you're going to follow my workout plan. If you don't lose any weight whatsoever and you've done exactly what they said you're going to do, then you're probably going to be pretty pissed off with that personal trainer, because they clearly don't really know what they're talking about if you've done absolutely everything. So why then in online education is it okay to promise somebody these things? That person, the customer, then goes ahead and does everything, and there's no guarantee whatsoever. And so that to me is what doesn't really add up. And certainly, I don't know if you're aware, but I have a product, an education-based product, but we are the only in my entire industry to actually offer a guarantee to people. I don't want your money if I can't get you results, bottom line.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. Look, we have a pretty epic guarantee as well, right? So ours is like 1 year. You just got to do the work, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
show us you do the work, and if it doesn't work for you, we'll refund you. There's no questions asked, right? Like, yeah, I should be careful. It's not no questions asked, because we asked like, why didn't it work for you? But yeah, I think when it comes to this stuff, it's tricky, man. There's a lot of, sales tactics, hype, all this stuff, scarcity, all these different things, which, it works, right? It works. And, the more and more we start to build Foundr, the more and more, we're moving away from all of that kind of stuff, because we're trying to build a mass market, educational platform and a mass market brand, where we don't even want to ever feel like you're in some funnel or anything like that, right? So I'm like, we're taking a different perspective around that. Like, yes, direct response principles, big fan of direct response, but yeah, I think you can do it in an elegant way, I think. But, the days of like ClickFunnels and stuff, awesome tool. Love Russell, learned so much from him. There's a lot of people with ClickFunnels accounts, man, that are doing exactly what you said.
Absolutely. It's not that so much the tool, it's how you use it, isn't it, at the end of the day? I mean, but you're clearly good at doing your due diligence. You've interviewed some incredible people. And are there any interviews to you which really stand out as being really, really inspirational and thought-provoking, but for you in your personal life?
It's really tricky, man. Like, to be honest, a lot of people ask me, like, out of all the interviews you've done, what's the best one? What's been the most impactful one? What's been the most inspirational one? What one have you taken the most from? It's really hard, because like, I was thinking about it yesterday. I've done like so many interviews, probably maybe close to 500 now, right?
Great. Over
a 7-year period. And that is just like a huge blur, dude. Like, I don't remember anything. It's like, I have a mind and a brain where like I love Breaking Bad, like one of the most epic TV series ever, or like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But if I went to watch it again, it would be like, I don't remember what happened.
Okay.
So, I was watching a movie, not last night, but the night before, with my fiance, and like, we watched it 2 years ago, but it took us halfway to work it out. So to answer your question, look, I've done a lot of awesome interviews, man. I've learned from some really, really, really smart people, right? And I take that away. Like, these days I'm pretty selfish. I around kind of the questions I ask, quite candidly. So look, I don't have any one person, to be honest, Jordan. But I can tell you one person that come to mind straight away that I loved speaking to, and I met him through Clarity, and I've got a lot of advice from him through Clarity around Foundr and what we're building and stuff. And that person, his name is Malcolm Ong. Malcolm ONG, and he's one of the co-founders of Skillshare. Okay. So I interviewed him recently, but before that, once a year for the past couple of years, or two times a year, I just catch up with him on a Clarity call. It costs like, $300-$500, and the insights that he's given us around how we're going to build the Foundr platform and how we continue to build it has been priceless, man. Yeah. So, it's more around kind of speaking to really smart people, like I said before, that have done what you want to do, right? So like Skillshare is a massive online educational platform. He's, I think, on the board still, or maybe not, but he's not active in the company. He's moved on his journey. And for me to be able to learn how he's built this incredible online educational platform, different to Foundr, but still a lot of unique similarities, is game changing, man. Like, it's like having millions and millions and millions of students, right? Like, it's game changing.
And I think that's so important for people to take away what you just said then about, like, you're paying for those Clarity sessions, and like, you've already got a very successful business. And to a lot of people, in their minds, they'll be looking at what you're doing, and will presume that you've just got this tunnel vision of, exactly what you're doing, exactly where you're going with everything. But paying somebody else for their outside look sometimes can just be so invaluable. I remember when we rebranded our company at the end of last year to Affluent.co, and before then we had a very clunky name, and we had in my mind, I had such a clear vision of exactly what I wanted this brand to be and what I wanted to achieve from it. And I just wanted to get a second opinion on it. And we paid for a consultation day. We spent a whole day with one of the ex-chief marketing officers from the Mars Group, the actual Mars bars, a gentleman named Chris. And the insights that I got from that, it changed absolutely everything. We still had the same vision, but the direction and the path that we needed to take changed completely. And I think that's one of the worst things that you can do, in my mind, in business, and especially when you're starting out, most importantly, is let your own ego and pride take over the fact that other people know better than you know in many different topics, and you should actually just let them have their say and ask people for second opinions, and ask again, until you really get a clear picture of what it is you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, I agree, 110%. Still to this day, I probably spend over $100,000 a year just on books, courses, training, advisory, coaching. It's because that's the stuff that you get the true gold from. That's where you level up, man. So that's just on my own development, right? Yeah. And that's so important, right? To be able to do that and just keep pushing and keep learning and keep leveling up, because it's never enough. Right? You hit one goal, and then you're just like, wow, what's next? Right? And then you hit another goal, and it's like, wow, what's next? And just, over time with what we're building at Foundr, the vision has become bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And, it's, you got to learn from other people. It's so key. And not enough people talk about it.
No, definitely not. And I think it's because a lot of people presume, or just have, they just think they know what it is that they're doing or what they're talking about, and don't have the humility to say, hey, guys, I need some help here. I want somebody else's input. Nathan, you've had so much, just bringing things back to you quickly, you've had so much success. And whether you deem you'll probably deem yourself still just getting started, which is great. I've always said, I always thought I was alone in this. I thought I had the curse of Jordan Platten before I kind of was exposed to the entrepreneurship space and was welcomed so warmly by everybody I think there's a big culture online of people presume that other people don't want you to do well, and we always hear that. But I think true entrepreneurship is about helping other people and empowering other people. And I've always, when other business owners come to me, I'll always do everything I can to actually help those people. But I always thought it was me that had that curse of wanting to progress and keep moving on. I always said it was a curse of 1 year. So every year I need to move on. I need to level up. What's the next step? What's the next job? I'm unemployable. I had 14 jobs before the age of 21 years old. And that's when I knew I really had to start my own business. But success to me, one of the craziest things is when I started to have, and again, I'm very much only just getting started, I consider myself. But one of the biggest things that I noticed was the impact that had on other people around me. Friends, family, and both positive and negative in the way people respond, because not everybody has that curse. Not everybody has that same mentality, that obsession with progression. How did you find in your life? Because especially with Foundr, I mean, comparably to other businesses, you've grown so quickly, especially when it comes to following and influence. How did other people receive that in your life? Both the positive and the negative?
Good question. Family, really great. At first, my parents didn't really understand what I was doing. But then as time went on, and especially like when I was looking to go full time on it, they were like, okay, well, like, look, like Nate, this is something Nathan's really passionate about. This, is something that he wants to do. We support him. But at the start, they didn't really understand. And my mum's amazing, but like, I never forget. And also my dad, they used to have an opinion on what I was doing and try and tell me what to do. And like, like, oh, you think you're going to build this big thing, whatever. And like, oh, you think you're an entrepreneur and all this stuff. And I'd laugh about it, like have a bit of a laugh because we always make fun of each other. But look, as time went on, they could see that like, one, I was really passionate about this stuff. And two, like maybe I was onto something. So, yeah, family's been really good. Now it's like really fun. I keep my mum and my dad kind of in the loop on what's happening on a day to day. And it's like they're coming on the journey with me because it's really fun. It's like a crazy journey, right? Friends have been really good too. One thing I have found though, just from a personal standpoint, is that the more, from my experience anyways, the more and more you get into this entrepreneurship stuff and business building stuff, the more and more sometimes for certain friends, it becomes harder to relate to each other. It's an unfortunate thing. Some of my best friends that I've known my whole life, I'm still quite close with, right? But there are some that unfortunately it's harder to connect, right? It just is. It's like, there's certain friends that you would have, like, I don't have kids yet, but, I know, like, you might have experienced this. There's certain friends that, once they've got kids and they have a family and you don't, it's just harder to connect, right? So it's a similar kind of thing that has happened. And yeah, it's been interesting, right? Like, as Foundr has grown, certain people have come out of the woodworks, right? Like, people I used to go to school with, people that perhaps might not have been that nice to me. Let's be honest. Want to catch up, want to pick my brain, all sorts of things. And, look, I'll do my best to help serve them however I can. Thankfully, we have a business all around that stuff. Thankfully, 99.9% of our content is free and I can point them in the right direction, right? That's been interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think I've had a very similar experience myself. And I think a lot of people have. And because the reason I asked that is because a lot of people who watch my channel are aspiring agency owners, and many of them are already existing agency owners, and lots of them are just starting out. Lots of them have just got a couple of clients. Many have gone through this process or are going to go through that process. And I think it's always a shock for people that not everybody, even the people that you maybe have spent, I mean, I know friends that I spent so many hours with talking about achievements and success and what we wanted to get out of our lives when we were kind of drunk at 3 a.m. at the end of a night out every weekend, and we're talking about what we're going to achieve. And then actually it's quite sad sometimes when you realize those same friends aren't then rooting for you when you actually do make that happen. I think that's quite a shock for a lot of people when they then have that success. But also it's wonderful having the support network from your family and other people that do, maybe people that you haven't spoken to in a while, and do then show a lot of success, and not just because they want to muscle in and get something in on the action. And of course there are people like that. I always say there's a cycle of three things that happen. There's the first thing that happens is the people who the naysayers will take the mick, and then they'll ask questions, and then they'll copy you. They'll try and do something similar, or they'll try something of their own, which is great. And I think as long as you always welcome those people with open arms and try and help them out. I mean, obviously not sitting down for hour-long meetings and whatnot, but pointing them over to your free content, which is invaluable for anybody to be creating online. I just think that's the best thing you can possibly do. So yeah, no, absolutely. You answered that question for me. And Nathan, I don't want to take up too much of your time today. So we can round things up now. I've really, really enjoyed having you on Gettin Chatty with Platty today. Obviously people can find out about more about Foundr on foundr.com, which is found r not er.com, to subscribe to the magazine. But where are you putting out the most content, personal brand related content these days? So where can people find you if they want to find you?
Yeah, so look, I'm really focused on growing the Foundr brand, but one thing I have recognized over time is because I've never really wanted to be perceived as the man or the big boy or any of that kind of stuff, or this big boss, is there needs to be a leader behind every brand, like Elon Musk to Tesla, like Richard Branson to Virgin, like Arianna Huffington to the Huffington Post, right? So I'm really trying to step up as a leader and really champion the movement that we're really driving at Foundr. So if people would like to see more personal brand kind of content around what's happening, how I'm building this company, and just a ton of awesome value, please do check out our YouTube channel, just youtube.com/Foundr. So it's Foundr without the E. So Foundr. So yeah, youtube.com/Foundr. We're working on a vlog. We're kind of starting to get it going, which we're just showing behind the scenes of how we're building this company. And yeah, like anything, around my journey, just how we're building it. I really want to build an incredible YouTube channel which documents that journey on there, and also interviews, and we've got all sorts of other content matter experts that we're getting to produce content for us there. So yeah, youtube.com/Foundr.
Wicked. Thank you so much, Nathan. Guys, if you've enjoyed this, please do share it with somebody else who'll get value from it. Drop me down a comment below with your favorite part as well. And yeah, we'll be back again very, very soon. Thank you, Nathan.
Awesome. Thanks so much, man. Absolute pleasure.